Just kidding. Dave works.
Morning, coffee. Let's do some case studies, man. Let's talk about some of these BRRRR Method deals.
Let's do it.
That we have added to the portfolio. We're trying to make more case studies as we go along.
Not just of the BRRRR stuff either. So our objective is really to go back and look at our entire, 4 to 5 years now, and just kind of document that. And then as we continue, keep documenting it. Like we've been pretty good at trying to keep up with it, but not really bringing it all together and showing you how a project came together. So that's why these case studies are pretty fun, especially on the BRRRR deals, right, Dave?
Yep.
And the BRRRR deals, why? Because we basically do everything you can do in real estate investing all in one property.
Yeah. And that's something to talk about for a minute.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you think about it, like BRRRR is like, it's not for beginners, but it is for beginners. Like it should be for beginners.
We did write a book on this, guy. It's called The BRRRR Method. If you're interested, check it out, Amazon and Audible. So, Mike, that's a really good point. We do everything.
Yeah,
when we're doing a BRRRR deal.
And again,
you gotta buy at a discount.
Just the acronym. You're buying a house. You're rehabbing a house. You're renting a house. You're refinancing it. I mean, again, that's all the stuff you can do. I mean, besides selling it, it's pretty much everything you do in real estate investing.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yes,
so again, so these case studies, that's why they're so much fun to talk about, is because we're talking about real estate investing, and it's everything. Yeah.
That's right. Well, Mike, let's jump in.
Let's do it, man.
What is the BRRRR Method? Let's start with that. The BRRRR Method, guys, is a strategy that we use to acquire a lot of assets with little to none of our own money. The way that it works, the BRRRR Method itself, let's start there. It stands for buy, rent, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. People may say buy, rehab, rent, renovate, or rent, refinance, repeat. A couple different variations in it, but essentially it's rehab or renovate, right? So you buy it, and you got to buy it at a discount. That's really part of the buy. You know, you can buy something retail and you can upgrade it.
Discount property investors.
That's right.
It's our big thing.
Update it and increase the value, but that's not going to typically increase the value enough to be able to get all of your money back. So part of this is buying at a discount. The other part is updating the property. So, every dollar you spend in updates really makes $1.50 or $2 worth of equity.
It's adding value, Dave. That's
property.
That's what something I really, really like about it, and I like to talk about, is adding value, because that's what entrepreneurs, that's what investors are doing. You're creating value or adding value to something, and that's how you make your money as an investor. That's how you really get good at this. You're creating wealth by adding value. It's very cool.
That's exactly right. So you're buying at a discount, you're renovating this property, so you've added value by fixing it up, and then you got value because you didn't pay retail for it, you got a discount. So those are two things that help. Next, you rent the property out, okay? And you basically get a lease that you can then show to the bank to say, hey, this is an investment property, and it is an asset, not a liability, meaning at the current time it's rented, and the rent is bringing in more money than the current debt on the property. So it's cash flowing, okay? And the refinance process can take anywhere from 3 weeks to 7 months, depending on the deal. In the beginning, it's going to take longer because there is this thing called seasoning, and they basically just want to see that you know what you're doing and have experience, and the bank is reducing its own risk.
I would say in the Corona times too, man. I mean, banks are just slower. I mean, it's just everything is slower in the given time. So plan on, minimum 6 months right now, I would say. If you're just starting out, you don't have a lender you're working with, 6 months is a really good timeline, I'd say, for turning your properties around.
Right.
So plan on it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Well, what's cool, and what I really emphasize, or I like to emphasize with the BRRRR Method, Dave, is you can use someone else's money to buy, acquire assets, and build wealth for yourself. Like, it's mind-blowing when you think about it. We borrow money from someone else to buy an asset and to fix it up.
Yeah, we don't like to use any of our own money.
So we're using someone else's money to buy and rehab a property. We're paying them interest, and pretty handsome interest. Mm-hmm. Then we refinance it with the bank's money, so not our money. And almost always we get all of our money back, sometimes a little more, sometimes we leave a little in the property. But you're not using your own money. Then you've got a tenant that's going to pay back that mortgage. And you're creating value. You're building equity in these properties as well as cash flow monthly. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really,
like this
really
is
cool.
I wish I would have started real estate doing this. I knew I always wanted to be a landlord, and I was like, okay, landlording. I don't have a lot of money. I'm gonna wholesale. Did a whole bunch of wholesaling. Still do. Love wholesaling. Don't get me wrong. But
Wholesaling
man,
is great. We wrote
Dave,
a book on that too.
think
But the thing about wholesaling,
Ooh.
I'm getting excited here. I'm getting excited. But the thing about wholesaling is it's a job.
Yeah, baby.
It's a lot of work, and we love it because it gets us deals and it's fun. But it's a lot of work, right?
Look at Dave and I. We're getting old, man.
That's right.
We're too old to be doing this every day. So again, think if we would have started and done BRRRR from day one when you started real estate investing, how many properties would we have now? 1,000?
Yeah, we'd have a lot.
I mean, we'd probably move from singles into multis, and I mean, yeah, it's just crazy. So let's jump in, Dave. Let's look at the first case study we've got on this one. And the reason we're calling it the first one, this is the first deal that Dave and I...
Yeah, we got like 4 or 5 of them that we wanted to run through here today. So yeah, let's do it. So the first one we did...
These are in chronological order from when we started out, Dave.
That's right.
So
I'm going to drag this onto the screen. We're going to make this full screen, and then we're going to go ahead and add us back here so you guys can see us. So this is a BRRRR case study, guys. We are the Discount Property Investors, and 555 Ben A Drive over here in St. Louis, Missouri, 63031 is the property that we are talking about today. This is actually one of the first that we bought, right?
it's our very first property
very
that
first-
we decided to hold as a rental.
BRRRR.
Correct. Our first one we decided to hold as a rental.
As a rental, as a company together. Right. Okay. Very cool. So let's go through this and check it out, guys. So property images you can see here of the property. It's a ranch home. These are the before photos as well, too. So looks like we have a picture of the garage, pretty empty and clean. Picture of like the dining room or family room. Wood floors, white walls. You know, looks okay. Nothing great necessarily. So the purchase details and the plan. Mike, tell us a little bit about this.
Sure.
one.
This was, again, like we said, our first deal purchased in July 2017. We used a private lender, kind of like we talked about before. So we're not using our own money to buy this. We used a private lender to buy it for $72,300. And back then, we were just kind of estimating about 90 days for a turnaround time. So that's for to rehab the property and to go through and then get it refinanced with a long-term lender. We figured it takes about 90 days. 30 days, kind of fluff it up, give or take a few, then 30 days to get the refinance done because we had already been talking with our bankers and they said, yeah, go for it. We'll finance some properties for you guys. We estimated we were going to spend about $10,000 on this property because it was not a giant rehab. Again, we didn't have a ton of pictures. Dave showed you a few of them. But again, it wasn't a giant rehab. It was in pretty good shape. So we just thought we'd spend $10,000, painting, cleaning it up, and then just get a tenant in place. We expected it to be to rent at about $1,200 a month and have an $86,000 value when we were finished. So pretty low.
So we bought it at 72. We figured 45 to complete, 45 to refi. So we figured 90 days. This is the first one we did. 10K repair budget. So we went from 72 and we wanted to get up to 82, right? Is that right? Am I reading this right?
Yeah, I think that's
82. But then we had an 86K value when complete.
Yeah, that seems a little bit low. I feel like we might be incorrect on that one. It's probably about 100K value when complete.
I think the value was probably closer to 100 on that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No big deal. Let's keep it moving. So we bought it to wholesale, and this was the first deal that we decided to hold as a company. We didn't really have a plan. We just wanted to fix it up and try to rehab it and get our money back and rent it out. That was kind of the plan that we had with BRRRR at the time. So let's see how we actually did on this particular deal. Here is the property images after the fact. So, Mike, I know we did do some renovating, some cleaning, some painting. This looks like that was probably an updated kitchen, or was that original?
No,
I can't remember.
That was original to the property. That's how we bought it. I think
okay.
we painted the cabinets, but don't hold me to that. Again, I don't know that we did much. Again, I think that a lot of stuff was in good shape. Some of the carpets may have been replaced. We weren't using as much of the vinyl as we are now in all the new ones because, again, the carpet was clean.
Yeah,
so we
just the beginning, man. This is the first one. We're starting at the top of the list here.
I told you, man. We're starting at the very first one.
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. All right, so let's look at the results for the next slide.
Okay, there's the results. So we spent $7 on the repairs for a total of $79,000 invested. Okay, that makes more sense because 10 would have put us at 82.
Right.
Right. We did get it rented for $1,200 a month with a $459 a month net cash flow after all expenses. So guys, if you don't know what cash flow is, Cash flow is what's left after all your bills. Your first and biggest and most common bill is going to be your mortgage, right? The mortgage may or it may not include escrows for taxes and insurance. On top of that, you're going to have maintenance, you're going to have vacancy, you're going to have CapEx, these are expenses, and then you're going to have management if you have a management company. So the expenses all together still gave us a cash flow on this property of $459 a month, which is awesome. Very cool. It did appraise for $125, which is what we corrected on that first slide.
Right. I think we were shooting for 100 back then.
And it appraised for $125 for an equity capture. Now, again, this is equity capture on paper of $45,700. Wow.
Yeah, but this is material.
Awesome.
This is really material, though. This is really important. And what's funny about BRRRR, you got to know your numbers. And all these numbers play off of each other. So you can see David mentioned, yeah, it's on paper, but $125,000, if we were to refinance out 80% of that, that's more than $80,000, Dave. That's like 125 times 0.8. We could have pulled out $100,000. Do you follow?
No.
We bought the property for 70 something. We spent 7,000, so we're into it for 80.
Into it for about 80. Yep. Okay.
Now this thing appraised for 125. So if we refinanced out at 80% of the loan to value, we could have pulled out $100,000, meaning we could pay off our lender and pocket $20,000.
Oh yeah, 96 is basically 80% of 125, so about 100. Yes.
Right.
Okay,
so we could have pocketed money on this deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what we did.
I'm pretty sure that we just got the payback.
We normally, that's what we're shooting for. We're not trying to leverage ourselves too far. Occasionally we will take the money. It just depends on, the deal and everything. So with $459 per month net cash flow, again, I think Dave's right. I don't believe we actually pulled out that money. But a very good deal. Next slide is kind of our summary.
Okay. Here it
so
is.
There's all that money.
Equity capture. There's our property image right there. We have our equity capture at $45,700, a monthly cash flow at $459. And we did refinance this out with long-term debt. We paid back our private lender, which gave us money to buy it and fix it. So we didn't have any of our own money invested in this deal, which is just awesome. I love doing these BRRRR deals, guys. This is very, very cool. So let's go back. Got to change my camera here. There we go.
Extreme close-up on Dave. Yeah,
that's right. And let's look at the next one, guys. So we have 2477 Ashland. And let's get us back up there. There we go.
All right, guys. So this is another BRRRR case study. This is our second deal that we've done together as the Discount Property Investor team located here in St. Louis, Missouri, 2477 Ashland. Let's go ahead and jump into what BRRRR is. BRRRR, again, is buy, rehab, refinance, what did I skip? Rent and repeat.
Rent, refinance, repeat.
Rent,
I always
refinance.
do that too. Always.
It doesn't matter.
There's a lot of R's in there.
There's so many R's. I get lost.
You rent it, you take it to the bank, you get a long-term loan, you repeat it. That's the process.
All right, so this was our second property that we were implementing the BRRRR on. Dave, let's jump right in, man.
All right, 2477 Ashland. I remember this one. This was like a 1.5 story. It's in a great little part of town, maybe only about 10 minutes from our office right here. When we bought this property, it needed some updates. I don't know if we have 2 slides of those pictures or not, but this is actually an upstairs picture. This is a picture, it looks like, of the patio area in the back. Or
and that was
living
where,
room.
That's the patio. So that was where we did most of the work. I mean,
drywall, this painted
right.
it. There was some concrete work we had to do in the basement, but it didn't need a whole lot. So let's take a look. So we purchased this back in 17 as well, 2017. We bought it for $57,000 and change. We used a private lender. We estimated, again, 45 and 45. So 45 days to complete our rehab, 45 days to complete our refinance. The estimated $10K repair budget with $86K value when completed. Again, I think that might be a little low again, right?
I think I think that was right on this one.
On this one? Okay.
Yeah,
No
because
so either way, 57 plus 10, we're going to be all in at about 67. And this one was 86. So this one might have been, we might have had to leave a little.
And I also had to convince you guys that this area was good. Took you guys a while to come around to the little 63114 Overland, St. Anne, St. John. Yeah, they're pretty good areas.
So the rehab plan, Mike or Dave will have to repair the back porch, which we talked about. We cleaned and painted the entire house. We did some flooring. But all in all, we didn't do anything major. We didn't do any bathrooms. We didn't do any windows or roofs. We didn't do any kitchens. There was a lot of cosmetic stuff, but not that much, right? We estimated about 10 grand in repairs. So again, we cleaned it up. We painted it. We got all of the floors cleaned. I don't know if we did do a full sand and stain. We may have just done a poly on them. And this kitchen was basically the before and the after picture.
It was. So you can see the middle image is that back patio after. So there was missing drywall. It's all cleaned up. The kitchen, one thing we do, especially when there's decent cabinets, is we'll save them and we'll clean them really, really well and then add poly on top of it. So it really makes them shine, makes them pop, makes them look like new. It's a pretty cool way to save older cabinets and make them look super, super clean and super, super new. So let's go ahead and jump into the next slide there,
so
Dave.
Here we go. Let's keep it moving. So we spent 13 on our repairs. We estimated 10. We went over just a little bit, but that brought us to a total amount invested of $70,000. We went and re-rented. See, I think that 84 was wrong. It's 104, man. That's what I'm saying. We rented it for $1,200 a month. No big deal.
Not wrong. It's what our expectations versus reality.
Okay.
Dave, so again, these are what we thought we were going to do versus what actually happened.
I see where your mind is at.
Yeah.
You created the slides,
so again,
my friend.
I know.
Get it.
So we thought we were going to spend 10 on repairs and we spent 13. Just like we thought it was going to be worth 100 or 86 and it was worth 104.
I get
See
it.
what I'm saying?
I do. I like where your head's at.
Man.
That
These are real results,
that
baby.
makes sense. So we rented it at $1,200. In this case, we had $514 a month in net cash flow. That's after all of our expenses. That's our mortgage, our management, our maintenance, so on and so forth. It did appraise at 104. And again, we kind of estimated 86. So we got a good appraisal on this. And we didn't even really renovate this entire property, right? Again, we didn't do a kitchen. We didn't do a bathroom. We didn't do roof or windows. Now, we did spend $13,000. But, some people could spend 13 grand on a bathroom, right? So we kind of let that money expand out and do as much as we could with it for the most part. So appraise at 104 with an equity capture of $33,987. The results on this deal, again, $33,987 equity capture, monthly cash flow at $514 a month. And we're not touching on the actual dates in terms of time frame, but we are talking about our estimated 45 and 45. And to be very clear and transparent with you guys, now we're able to do it in 45 and 45. When we first started, it probably took us more like 60 and 60 or even closer to 90 and 90 because, again, we didn't have all of our relationships with our bankers. And we didn't have our good set of crews that are working with us and making it more efficient. Every day in our business, we're getting better and better at that. So.
Yeah, it varied for sure. Some projects took us a long time. Some of them were done really quick. So, yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. So that is basically number 2. That was 2477 Lindsay. Ashland, 2477 Ashland. Next, let's take a look at 560 Jamaica. Gotta do a couple little camera tricks here, guys. Let's go to this one. And we're gonna go to Jamaica. Yeah, let's get us back up there, bud. All right, 560 Jamaica. This is basically the third case study that we're going to be looking at today, guys. 560 Jamaica. Here are some photos of the property. It looks like you could use some paint. The flooring looks kind of dated. The outside looks like it has like a little bit of a carport on the side of the house. We don't have a very good front photo of the property, but it doesn't matter. This is a rental, guys. It doesn't matter, right? So the purchase, we bought this one back in, looks like July of 2017. We bought this for $59,461 using a private lender. Again, we estimated 45 and 45. That's the rehab and that's to refinance. The estimated $16K repair budget with $93,000 value when we completed and about $1,150 in rent. So we borrowed about 60 plus 16. So it's about 76,000 total, but we estimated 16 grand for the repairs. So let's see how we actually did. Here was our rental rehab plan. This was first bigger project using third-party contractors. Good notes in there. Clean paint, new counters, new water heater, new hardware, and clean and paint basement exterior cleanup.
Yeah, so there's a lot of little stuff, but again, we were using a third-party crew. So what David touched on is that we used we were kind of using hodgepodge. We didn't really have crews at the time. And then this one we actually hired out because, again, our crew was doing some of the flips for us, but not necessarily the BRRRR projects. So we didn't really have a full capacity crew. So we hired a third-party contractor. So, again, how do you get good at that? You got to do it. So we hired third-party. They did most of this for us. Dave, the next slide, I think, has our pictures of after. And, again, we were not great at documenting all this. So, again, we don't have tons of pictures.
This is from our archives of photos from back then, but we got about 100 of these to get through, guys. So, what are we on, number 3? It's going to get better.
Yeah,
absolutely.
hopefully.
All right, so here's our rehab photos. It looks like they did do new countertops, probably new fixtures. And the bathroom, it looks like we didn't clean it up much. I mean, we didn't paint the tile like we would do now.
Yeah, so and exactly, we've learned a lot of tricks too. So it looks like we put a new vanity in, but we didn't paint the tile. And by paint, we mean glaze.
Glaze it, make
so
it
a lot of those
pretty and new looking.
Exactly. The tub, maybe you have to leave in place because of expense or whatever, but you can have it glazed. And again, glazing the tub is not perfect, and it does get worn and beat down, but it lasts for a few years or a few tenants, and it makes it look white, clean, and new. So again, you get a higher appraiser or appraised value. The appraiser comes through and says, oh, this looks really nice. It looks new, it looks clean, looks nice. So again, these are kind of some of the tricks that we've picked up over time.
Very cool. Let's look at the results here. So we spent $17,000 on repairs. So again, we had a total of about 76. Bought it for 59 and change. We'll call it 60. Added 17 in it. 76,000 and change was what we had invested in this deal. We rented it for $1,150 a month with a net cash flow of $472. That's after all of our expenses. It's $472 a month coming in, which is awesome on this property. It appraised at $95,000 for an equity capture of $18,000 and some change. So here's our results: $18,339 equity capture. Monthly cash flow on this one was $472.
So what's really neat? Okay, so although we spent more than we expected, we said we were going to spend 13 and we spent 17, and it appraised for 95. We were able to refinance this at 80% loan to value and get $76,000 back.
We had to leave a little in.
Very little, exactly. So we leave a little. But if you noticed, the monthly cash flow is $472. So after 1 or 2 months, we've got all of our money back. So again, yes, there was some money left behind, 100% full transparency, and sometimes we leave even more behind. But it comes back to us in the cash flow. That's why you have to know your numbers, and you have to be planning on $300 to $400 per month in net cash flow after everything is taken out. That's very important to us.
That's a great point, Mike.
Sweet, sweet. So that's number 3. That was Jamaica. Let's look at another BRRRR study or another BRRRR case study.
All right.
And I think we're starting to get more pictures on some of these.
All right. 290 El Dorado.
Awesome.
That's what we're going to be looking at next here, guys. 290 El Dorado. And this one, here we go. Some before photos. It is, where is this one? Is this in fluorescent, Mike? I can't remember.
It is indeed.
Fluorescent, looks like a little ranch. It's a brick home. And on the inside, you can see we had some dated kitchen, right? You have dated flooring, you have dated cabinets and countertops. I'm not sure what that lower picture is. It's cut off by the logo. This appears to be the basement here. It looks like it's it was finished at one point, but it's kind of dated.
So on the top, the top right where we are hanging out, that's actually the bonus room off the back of the house in the kitchen. Yeah, see that nice window? So that's like a big old bonus room. So this is a 3-bed, 1-bath upstairs, and it had a, and I think we might talk about this in the next slide. It had a half bath in the basement or a full bath in the basement, but they put concrete in the pipe. They just covered it up and said they didn't want people doing it. Yeah.
This is El Dorado, right?
El Dorado. Yep, okay. So you see, and then they had that ugly wood panel in the rest of the basement. So yeah, go on to the next slide. You'll remember it when you see it, Dave. It's,
all right. Yep. All right, moving on. Purchase details and plan. We purchased this, guys, for $59,000. Again, this is back in 2017. We're starting at the beginning. We're going to be doing a lot of these case studies. So this one was a couple years back, but it was, again, this was what, number 4 that we had done as a team here. So again, purchased it for $59,000. We used private money, private lenders. We estimated the 45 and 45. That's days to complete rehab, and then days to complete our refinance. Now, if you're working with a lender that requires some seasoning, meaning it needs to be leased for at least, let's say 60, 90, maybe even 120 days, then make your projections based off of that, right? Our plan and goal is going to be a little different than what your plan and goal is. So, figure those out and make those projections accordingly. At this point in time, we already had a lot of lenders in place. And again, our goal was the 45 and 45. Now, we estimated a $19,000 repair budget on this one with a $100,000 value when we complete. And we had estimated a $1,200 a month in rent based upon those estimates. Okay, so the rental rehab plan, $19K rehab budget. What were we going to do with that? Well, we wanted to flip up the kitchen a little bit, save the cabinets, and paint them, okay, because they didn't look like they were broken or too beat up or kicked in. They just dated looking.
Well, and that's the thing.
This is a rental.
A lot of old houses have solid wood cabinets, but they're just old.
They're just old.
So if they're not treated bad, if they're in decent shape, it really is tough to rip them out and just throw them away and put in new, cheaper cabinets. So again, we try to save a lot of times if we can for the BRRRR properties.
Yep, absolutely. I love it. We did do the new countertops, and we bought new appliances. Those are two things that it's really hard to update. You can't update appliances like by fixing them, they just get old and you have to throw them away. So you buy new ones. Countertops, same scenario. They get old, they fade, they get chips in them. They may be peeling if they have like some sort of laminate or vinyl on it, whatnot. They just look bad after about 10 years, so we can just replace those, and it's relatively cheap. We did do new flooring throughout the house, which goes a really long way, guys. Think about the flooring and the walls. That's what the majority of any property is. It's the floors and it's the walls. And then, so if you can update those, paint them, clean them, sand them, stain them, it's going to make the entire house look a lot cleaner and more updated just by doing those two things. So we did flooring and we did paint. We repaired the basement bath, which again, Mike had stated it wasn't workable because there was concrete poured in the. Did they pour it in the toilet and then flush the toilet?
No, no, it was
I can't
just
remember exactly what it was, but I remember that we had to dig it up.
Yeah, and it wasn't a big deal though, because I was thinking, oh man, we're gonna have to bust up all the pipes, but they ended up. It was just like
it was only like 4
yeah,
inches beneath
exactly.
the
There was like
thing.
nothing. So they
I
they
think
were
it
able
might
to
have been
chip it out, and
It might have been either somebody that got foreclosed on or a tenant that was getting kicked out that was just like, F these owners.
I don't know, man.
Who knows? That's kind of
Yeah.
what I would think. But regardless, we did have to fix that basement pipe, and we had a bathroom that was non-workable. Did we make it workable, or did we just remove it? I think we made it workable.
Yeah.
Because that helps your appraisal, guys. That's something that is
Your
gonna be
appraisal, your rent, your livability.
all of that. That's such
yeah.
a good point. So again, clean and paint, new light fixtures, and we brought it to code. Now, one thing I do want to mention, Mike, is that adding light fixtures goes a long way. Light fixtures are relatively cheap. And if you have ceiling fans in your bedrooms or, just these old light fixtures in your kitchen or your bathroom, swapping out a light fixture costs anywhere from $40 to maybe $250, and it will make a home look much more updated by doing that than not. So again,
I will,
go
yeah.
ahead.
And I would say that we put ceiling fans in almost every room. And we're very picky about them. We get inexpensive ones, but we like the ones with light bulbs, where you can put 3 or 4 light bulbs in it, as opposed to the new ones with one little LED light that's got a globe over it. They're dark.
They're dark.
So again, Dave's
Yeah,
point about
bringing
updating
the light in.
Yeah, making it bright in the house and adding a ceiling fan. It's amazing. Little things like that just make such a big difference in these properties. So let's go ahead and take a look.
So that's
Next
our
slide.
rental. That was the rehab plan, guys. Here's the image afterwards. We redid the floors, redid the paint. Look how good this picture on the left looks. I know it's just a picture of an empty room. I get it. But when you paint the walls like a gray color and you do white trim on the floors and then you paint the windows, it just looks clean. It looks nice. So here is a picture. It looks like of the newer countertops. We're doing Ashland, right? No, this is El Dorado. New countertops, and then look at the bathroom. Now, Mike, we had a picture a minute ago of a bathroom very similar.
It was
and had
blue.
that blue tile. So guess what? We didn't go in and rip all that blue tile down and put this nice fancy white tile in. That bathroom looked just like this one. We glazed it, which essentially is painting it with a very thick, very durable paint. You can also use this glaze on the tub. So I can see in this picture, brand new toilet, brand new vanity, brand new flooring, which typically is like a peel and stick or even a groutable peel and stick. We don't really do anything ceramic, guys. The reason is because ceramic breaks.
It's 2 reasons.
Well, that's
one. It breaks.
It's expensive for 2.
Well, okay, 3.
3.
It's
yeah.
expensive. It breaks, and it's harder to install.
It's harder to install.
So
it takes longer.
You need a tile saw.
You need a tile saw.
It's more skill.
You need more skill, right? Whereas for these rental grade properties, we like to use very durable flooring and something that somebody can essentially lay down and cut with an X-Acto knife or whatnot. I mean, it works really, really well. Maybe you finish it with quarter round, maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. But again, you can see the updates that we did in these slides here. Some more after photos. This was that basement bathroom.
That's
Look at that
the basement
on the left
bath.
side.
Yep.
I love it, man.
So it's a 3/4 where it has a shower, not a full bathtub down there.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
it
it's
doesn't
great.
look like we did much to the shower. Is that new or no?
Mm-mm. No, we
That
just
was
literally
there.
just chipped out the concrete.
Cleaned it up.
Yeah.
Put in the vanity, painted the floors and the walls. This is a perfect example of that peel and stick type tile that we use, guys, or maybe it just clicks together.
Yeah, the luxury vinyls.
The luxury vinyl. I mean, we're getting this for what, $1.70 to $2 a foot, give or take.
It's about $2 now.
Call it about $2 a foot.
Yeah.
But the cost to install it isn't $2 a foot.
Mm-mm.
You know, it's somebody that was on the team, on the crew, and we're just paying them hourly. So it's much, much, much more cost effective. Let's look at the results, Mike. Go ahead.
Sure. So this one we spent quite a bit on. We spent $21,000 on it. So again, since we got such a good deal when we purchased it, it means we were into this property for $80,000, and I believe our expectations were it was going to be worth about $100 when we were done. So we were expecting to be worth about $100. We ended up spending $21. We're at $80,000. So $80,000 over $100,000, that's 80%. So we'd be okay, even if it just appraised at what we had expected it to. What actually happened, it appraised for $118,000. So we captured $38,000 in equity.
Wow.
This is what's so fun about BRRRR is we're creating value for ourselves using someone else's money.
Yeah, so we created $38,000 in value by buying something at a discount and then fixing it up and then getting it rented. So we take that to the bank and we say, hey, look, money's coming in. It's cash flowing, right? Here's what it's going to be worth. What kind of loan are you going to give us? They send the appraiser out, and they give us loans anywhere from 70 to 80%. In this part of town, we were probably getting 80% loans, I'd imagine. That's the majority of the loans that we're getting are 80%. But again, Mike, I love it. We captured $38,000 worth of equity. Let's take a look at our results. Not only did we capture $38,000 worth of equity, but we are cash flowing. That's not
that's
right.
Wrong.
That's
Go back to the last
annual.
slide.
That's an annual cash flow probably right there, right?
Well, $290, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
$290
Just leave it on
times
this slide
12.
for the end here.
Yeah, that's fine.
So rented at $1,200 a month, $290 per month.
$34.80. I just did the math. That's the annual amount.
Gotcha.
So it's $290 a month. No problem, though.
Which, again, is relatively low for our portfolio. When you're that low, and again, be very, very careful. Make sure you are accounting for vacancies. Make sure you are accounting for maintenance, property management, et cetera, et cetera. Make sure you're accounting for all these things when you're trying to calculate your cash flow. So our 290 is a true 290, or it's a pretty accurate 290, I would say, which is difficult. And it's difficult for a lot of new investors to really get that. If you're looking at just your mortgage payment and the rent and the difference between those two, you're probably not actually cash flowing 290 because there's going to be maintenance, because there's going to be repairs. Repairs are huge. We have about 100 doors or so, 100 and something doors. I can't even tell you how many air conditioners I replaced this year. And if we didn't factor in the fact that we were going to spend money on maintenance, it would crush us. Like, it would just crush you. So you have to account for that. Like, our actual bank account, we're probably making $400, $500 a month on it. But because we take those factors into consideration, we only live off of 290.
Yeah.
We only call it 290.
Hey, real quick before we can proceed, I do want to answer this quick question here.
I love
it.
it.
From Brian, it says, how do you take the money out if the bank is not allowing people to take the money out of rentals? So we're not taking the money out. This is not a cash out refi, Brian. This is a refinance that pays back another lender. So you have to think whenever we go to refinance, they're going to say, hey, what all loans and liens are on the property? And we're going to submit the existing current debt. So what the goal is here is to not walk with 5, 10, 15 grand, although that can happen occasionally. The goal is just to have your 80% of appraisal to be at or above what the debt is. And therefore, you're not cashing out. You're just having the bank replace one debt with another. But the new debt, bank loan debt, is long-term, low interest rates.
So there's a couple
Right?
things on that too. So Dave is absolutely right. And it's considered more of a rate and term refinance, or it can be if you've had the property for long enough. It's a rate and term refinance, not necessarily a cash out refi. You also, though, if one bank tells you no, and this is something we kind of skipped over, go to another bank.
Right.
So this is something that we emphasize.
You can learn a lot about it in our
We emphasize it in this, is that one of the most important things people don't realize about the BRRRR method, before you get started buying, go get pre-approved. You have to talk to 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 lenders. Figure out how you can get approved before you buy the property. That is really, really important. And if you didn't, no big deal, but start hunting down local banks that are willing to lend. We prefer commercial loans because we can get loans in our LLC and there's no cap on it. There's not as many restrictions. The rates aren't quite as good. Again, we're going to pay a little bit higher interest rate. But again, it gives us the ability to do this.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
it doesn't matter. You're using someone else's money to pay it.
Cool.
So yeah, that's very, very important. I'm glad you saw that question and asked about it.
All right, let's do
Or
one
addressed
more,
it.
guys. One more. This is 1632 Langholm. This will be number 5 for today. Again, we are doing case studies on the BRRRR method. 1632 Langholm is the property. This is the 5th property Mike and I did together.
Dave, you bought this one. Tell us about how you found the
so
deal. You
check
remember?
this one out. You know, man, I don't remember how I bought this deal. It was a while ago. We've had this
I know
one
you
for-
were the buyer though.
I did
man.
buy
So-
this deal. I
So this is
remember
when
that.
we're heavy into wholesale. But Dave, I remember was
Yeah, but I like this deal. Here's why I liked it. It's a 4-bedroom house. All 4 bedrooms were on this right side.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had a huge family room right here, and then a dining room in the middle, and then a kitchen in the back, and it had a fenced-in backyard. It just had a good lot. This is a photo taken in the winter because the grass is all dead here. But it had a lot of potential to bring in a lot of rent. And I also noticed that it didn't need that much rehab. So you can see here's when we bought it. I know that we did new flooring in this house. We did new countertops and we did new paint. I'm pretty sure we left the cabinets, but I could be wrong. And again, I think we painted these bricks here. So
You're working too hard, man.
Paint
Go to
and-
the next slide.
paint and flooring go a long way with rental properties, guys.
Look at
Paint
that
and
memory.
flooring. So I know I'm working hard here. Purchase details. We purchased this again. This is the 5th one we bought. Mike and I have over 100 doors at this point from the BRRRR strategy, or damn near close to it. This is the 5th one back in 2017. $79,000 and change was our private lender purchase price. Again, $45,000 and $45,000 was the rehab and refinance estimated. That was our goal. And then again, they estimated about $15,000 in repair budget, right? And we were hoping with a $80,000 purchase and a $15,000 in repair, that puts us at about $95,000, that it would be worth $119,000. And that's also with an estimated rent of $1,200 a month. So let's see how we actually did on this deal. The rehab plan, real quick, it was in good shape. It was a mostly cosmetic flip or renovation, you should say. We did save the cabinets. We did do the new floors. I remember those floors. We did new flooring throughout. We did a bathroom fluff up, I think 2 of them even. Paint, clean, and then, of course, bring it up to code. That's one of the things that you always have to do when you're doing your renovations, because you can't get a license to rent it, which basically means you have an occupancy inspection passed
So here in St. Louis, we have
without bringing it up to code.
we have a ton of different municipalities, and each one of them kind of has their own different little requirements. Unfortunately, they say they're all the same. They're pretty similar, but it's a little bit different. But you have to get an occupancy inspection and an occupancy permit to move into most of these properties.
Right.
So that's why
it's
we're
for a good reason.
It is. It's
for
safe.
safety.
Well, the intent is good.
Intent is good.
And a lot of
Sometimes
them-
the inspectors are.
Are thorough. We'll put it like that. They're
Thorough.
thorough. So we
Right.
bring everything up to code. Again, we want to make them safe, clean, nice places to live. That is always our goal.
That's right. All right, keep it moving here. So here's some after photos, guys. Look how pretty those floors look. That's $2 a square foot floor from, I don't know, Home Depot or maybe Hoods. But it looks so good. That is not real wood. Doesn't matter. That's also more durable than most floors. Maybe not wood itself, but maybe, depending on how you treat them.
Personally, I think it is.
It might be, man. I mean, really, they don't scratch.
Yep.
And or dent like a wood floor would. And they're waterproof, which is so cool, right? I guess wood isn't waterproof, so it's more durable than wood. Looks like wood. I love it. We kept the cabinets, guys. We did do new countertops, and it looks like we did a new light fixture. I thought we painted those bricks, but I guess we didn't. We painted the walls, though. So again,
Yeah, but look at it. I mean
look
the
at
picture
you're
looks
right.
great.
The night and day difference from the before and after is great. Let's take a look at what we really spent. So we guesstimated a little less than I think it was 16 or something along those lines. We ended up spending 20 on the repairs, but that totally put us in at 102,998. That was what we were into this loan with our lender, probably with the interest occurred already, right? Like at the time of refi, we owed 102,998. We did get it rented for $1,250 a month, which brought us $456 a month in net cash flow after all of our expenses. All right, it appraised for $130,000 for an equity capture of $27,000. So it appraised for $130,000, but we owed our private lender $102,998. So we had that equity capture of $27,000 and some light change right there, with a monthly cash flow of $456. All right. Looks like we do have a property image of the photo, but we kind of already seen that one. But again, just another great example of what we can do when we apply the BRRRR method, guys. The BRRRR method: buy, renovate or rehab, rent it out, refinance it, repeat it. It gives you the ability to buy properties with little to none of your own money by using private or hard money lenders, fixing those properties up, taking those properties and putting them on the market for rent, or hiring a property manager. Mike and I are too busy to be renting our own. We have a manager that does it for us. He goes and rents those properties. Once we have that lease, all right, we have some before and after pictures, and we can prove that we rehabbed and updated this property. And some banks will have a minimum. They'll say, we want to see at least $15,000 worth of updates if we're going to lend on the appraisal and the appraisal only, and that's fine. We typically, I think our average is what, 17?
Yes, I think 16
or 17 grand on average for about 100 rental properties, right? Or 100 doors, let's say. About 16 grand per property. We take it to the bank. We'd say, hey, we want to get a refinance loan. This isn't a cash out. It's just paying back another lender or another bank or even another institution, right? And as long as we can get, at or above 75 to 80% of what that appraisal amount is with our all-in costs, we can pay back those private lenders and have none of our own money in the deal. Now, to be completely transparent, we leave money in these deals. Typically, it's about $1,200 on average over the course of all of them that we've done. In the beginning, we were leaving in 15, 10, 12, 18 grand. Because we didn't know how to zero this in exactly, right? Maybe we weren't buying low enough. Maybe we weren't adding enough value. A couple different things may have happened to the, to say why we would be leaving money in. But every deal we do, we're getting better and better and better. We're making sure that we're not underestimating our repairs. We're making sure we're buying it aggressively at a discount to ensure that whenever we get to the closing table on the refi, that we bring zero or as close to zero as possible. Now, full disclosure, we have walked away from deals with money in our hand before, probably 5 or 8 times. We don't like doing that, though, because we don't want to increase the debt. The goal here is actually zero, if that makes sense at all. It's to be in and out for none of your own money. And if you have to leave a little bit in, that's fine. But would you like to acquire a rental property with $1,200 out of your pocket at the end of the day? It's about what we're averaging right now. $1,200.
I mean, again, what price can you put on it? Compare that to...
And then after 4 or 5 months of cash flow, you have none of your own money.
Compare that to the traditional method. Save up, save up, save up, put 20 or 30% down. So think about a $100,000 property. You're talking about leaving $30,000 of your own money in.
20 to 30 grand. And
like
it's
that
hard
is,
to save 20 or 30 grand too, right?
Dude, good luck. Like, are you kidding me?
Right. So this is it, guys. This is why we do it. We love doing it.
It's creating wealth.
We just did 5 case studies: 555 Benet, 2477 Ashland, 560 Jamaica, 290 El Dorado, and 1632 Langholm. If you are just now watching, scroll back, rewind, check these out. These are case studies on the BRRRR Method, deals that Mike and I, this is real life case studies that we did on properties, and we're going to be bringing you guys a lot more of this to come. Thanks for watching. Signing off.